All right, friends, welcome to Battletech Blades of Honor Season 1, Episode 16, 3046. Because we didn't have an episode last week, I didn't get to do this intro, but the same intro applies right now. I have to be more entertaining than normal. Otherwise, Rad and Andrew will just fuck off and go play Helldivers 2, which is the exact thing we were talking about one breath before I started the recording.
If you're watching this tomorrow on Patreon, happy International Women's Day.
Hey, happy International Women's Day. Although, is it already International Women's Day for you right now?
It is, yep.
In honor of International Women's Day, this episode is dedicated to our favorite international woman, Arthur's mom. This episode is titled The Quest for Friendship, where we try to win our way into her heart.
Rad is upset because he learned that my mom likes Lauren Danger a lot more than she likes Raddosaurus.
That's actually fair. Don't blame anybody for probably liking Lauren more than me. I was going to make a snotty joke just now, which is why people like Lauren more than me.
I mean, look,
so I'll just not say it.
There's two ways to fix this. One is to improve your reputation. The other is to impugn Lauren's.
No, don't. So, just don't. Just don't.
This is a lose.
We're in space. We're
a real Michael Scott situation.
It's a Michael Scott situation. We are traveling through space to the planet of Luan 8. Somewhere along the line, we're dropping off a former Yakuza turned current Yakuza of a different organization who has been turned into a spy in Davian space by Akari Genji.
Was that an AI ball you had there, Andrew?
No, sorry. See if I can get the camera to pick it up.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Sorry.
It's like Fusion-class dropship?
Only because AP said we're in space, and I thought you might have had like a weekly model you could have cut up and done.
No, yeah, I got all my dropships sitting next to me.
Somewhere along this trip, we see a Japanese man. He's got the kind of flabbyish dad bod, a little bit of the hanging man booba, a little bit of jelly down in the stomach area. His arms are absolutely ripped. He just
I feel so seen.
I like the way you were trying to say that before he got to the ripped arms.
Well, what I did is I asked ChatGPT to describe what a dad bod meant in the 90s, so...
Well, it was any consolation. At my nephew's 21st last week, he had an arm wrestling table, and I'm still undefeated from that, so...
Perfect. No, I mean, I don't use ChatGPT. Maybe I should be using ChatGPT. Instead, I described what dad bod used to mean instead of what it... I don't know what it means now. I'm confused. Is dad bod supposed to be a hot dude or not? Anyway, this guy's arms are totally jacked. We can see he's got his jumpsuit down, folded around his waist. It is Poe, the assistant tech, or the lead mech tech for our Kintaro. He is sticking the top half of his body into the rear of the Kintaro's The Dilfs of Disneyland. No, we're not doing that episode. Jeez Louise. He's sticking the top half of his body into the rear of the Kintaro's missile racks and appears to be using some software connection cables in order to run some sort of system update in the Kintaro when he is approached by the scion of House Kyeda, who's been looking for many months in and out of character to have a private conversation.
Poe, how are you?
Poe slowly pulls himself out. You can see that there's... do you know what a dolphin is? The little electronic device that...
Yeah, no, I know what a dolphin's a form of porpoise.
It's true.
Well, programmers and e-testers out here that know what the, dolphin pen testing device and other...
Don't trivialize James's knowledge of marine animals, okay?
My apologies. It's called Flipper Zero, not Dolphin.
Wow. How embarrassing, Arthur.
Anyway, look, I mean, I've been looking for you for some time to have a chat, and I was really just looking to chat about the fact I thought you should come on this mission, but since you're already here, it seems kind of redundant. So I don't really know why I was still seeking you out.
We should cut back to when that conversation happened.
That's incredible. That's the best troll. I don't even want to talk to you anymore, stupid ass.
We cut back into the past. Poe is sitting with cat headphones on, listening to a song that is like Margaritaville, but is copyright distinct legally enough from it. Drinking a beer in the mech bay on a lawn chair. He's got like a little paintball gun, and he's just repainting the mech that you've been working on. Is it
a blackjack?
Yeah, he's painting the blackjack with a paintball gun.
One paintball at a
slowly. Yeah.
I think we've replaced like the same part 5 times. We keep fucking every time we put it in. It's like something important, like we're on our 3rd gyro or something. So
it's like painting 1 pixel at a time.
Yeah.
He's a perfectionist.
You approach him, and he immediately hides his alcohol container using his body and stands up and salutes. Sir?
No need to salute. So I mentioned I wanted to take out the Kintaro. I wanted you to, well, if you already expecting to, I wanted you to come along, but I need you to know what this is about. We're going to recover the sword that belonged to Lord
Takeda.
Takeda, yes.
Yes, the one who you're marrying the young woman from that house.
Yes. You were obviously there that night. You know what actually happened, but we are doing this to save his family face. So I wanted you to know about that before we did this, just in case it comes up, that he died honorably defending his family, just so we're clear. Lord
Takeda died honorably defending his family.
Yes, and his malfeasant offspring, like what was it, nephew stole his,
like 3 generations removed cousin, something like that.
I knew he was Henya's cousin, but I wasn't sure if he was by just de facto. So I don't know whether you plan. I don't know whether your original thoughts were that we would sort of set up here and stay here. But are you all right with this long distance travel on this mission?
I'm sworn to carry your burdens. Literally. If you are going on a long distance travel, I have seen what you've done with the blackjack, and I guarantee that your Kintaro will not come back in one piece. I think it'd be best if I go along.
What we've done with the blackjack.
Sure. I agree. We have done things with that blackjack. As he says that, he does a crossbody, no-look shot. It's less impressive when you're hitting something the size of a barn, but...
Oh, you're a soldier, right?
I still am a soldier, yes.
Yeah. Mech warrior?
No.
Why is that?
Well, being a mech warrior in the Draconis Combine is a very narrow path that is only allowed for officers for the most part, non-commissioned or commissioned. Nobles, a lot of the time. You got to go to college to become a mech warrior for the most part. It's not, it's not like backwards ass societies like the Federated Suns where you can just buy a mech off the shelf with literally no licensure and walk around with a titanic war machine capable of leveling cities. Just any old jackass. There are very serious restrictions to make sure that only the best use of materials happens here in the Draconis Combine. And listen, You can you are a ISF trainee. Some part of this he believes, and some part is he's regurgitating national company line, which is only the best can be mech warriors.
But I mean, you've gone through the opportunity there, but what about the skills? Do you have the skills?
I could do a few runs through the simulator and see how I rank. Why are you asking?
Because to me, you are a soldier, and that I like. And at some point, between now and the end of time, we will get this blackjack working. And at that point in time, I think we should have a conversation about whether you're more interested in fixing mechs or fighting them.
As he takes a deep breath, from the camera's point of view, we hear the breath coming in, but it's also like the scene transition to cut back to the present. You know what I mean? It's like how in Lost, sometimes people would take a deep breath and the sound of that would wash away everything else. And just doing some cinematography, I guess. We cut back and he goes, "No, I think this conversation is pretty useful for helping remind me of why I'm here. You're trying to bribe me into becoming a mech warrior pilot."
It's not about bribery at all. It's about whether you're the right person for the job. I think that, I said, in terms of how we work together and your personality, it's perfect.
If I'm piloting the mech, who's going to repair our mechs?
Well, that's the thing. Is like you're also more qualified to determine the next cadre of technicians for this family than I am. So, like all good middle managers, I'm asking you to find your own replacement.
Oh my God. Why do you have to hurt me like this, James? Find your own replacement. Can you train this guy? Oh my God. Hey, no, I'm not going to go there. Never mind. Your trip passes somewhat uneventfully. Perhaps surprisingly, the dropship that you're on, the Biwako, has a sort of obsession with Federated Suns pirate broadcasts that have made it over the border. You stop in the Federated Suns, which is where they get a lot of the material. And then as you travel through the Outworlds Alliance, they rebroadcast whatever they have the licensure for. They also put on a number of plays that are not Capellan in nature, but they are historical Chinese plays redone in Japanese with a sort of bent on the values of a samurai, where it's people soaring across a zero-gravity mech bay with very flexible swords doing Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon stuff. But it's not, I don't want to imply that they're doing it like playfully or childlike. They are pretty good actors and they're very skilled at zero gravity, so they managed to make it look kind of good. But also the crew is like nearly 100% male, and a lot of the plays require like a 50-50 gender role, so there's a lot of makeup involved in these things. Is there anything else anyone wants to do before your arrival on Lushan 8? As you jump into the system, you have received permission to travel here. And you again receive permission to land. Specifically, the only people allowed to leave the dropship for non-dropship operations, which would mean like people refueling the dropship or buying spare parts, are the three nobles. No mech techs allowed and no mechs without government permission. You are invited to a ball in your honor when you are scheduled to land in 5 days by the local government representative, Thalia Schutz. You are also requested to attend a meeting at your leisure with section leader Kai Schwimmer, who is commanding officer 2nd Company Alliance Grenadiers on planet. And it sounds like there is some problems going down on planet in regards to there's some rioting, there's some like banditry, and there's also like a big hoo-ha at Luan Industrials Limited plant with a number of protests against the owner, Mr. Falco Holtz.
So
you begin sorry, just one more thing. You also begin absorbing local Outworlds Alliance media when you arrive, which includes a lot of really skewed news broadcasts that are pro Outworlds Alliance. And all of the commercials are either for Davian products or Kyeda products. Locally made materials and like cultural, so like sneakers and blue jeans, mall samurai swords, all of that shit not made locally within the Outworlds Alliance. Basically, they are commercial slaves to the two larger powers they border.
You don't get propaganda like this in the Combine.
You don't get propaganda like this in the Combine.
It's much higher quality where we live.
So from memory from last time, the surface of Luan is inhospitable.
Yes,
Arctic.
it is.
Okay, yeah.
The seasonal temperature is 6 degrees Celsius on the regular, and almost everyone lives underground.
Yeah. And so in terms of from where the dropship lands to where the city is, like, is a dropship platform directly above the city?
You are being directed to land at the government dropship landing area. They send a platform up, and then it is slowly lowered down into the ground. It's old Starlink tech that has been well maintained, and I don't mean like it's got super technological lasers. It's just that it can lift very heavy objects up and down. And so they take your dropship, you come down, they seal the dropship in a bunker underground so it's not cold and you can walk out into the city. It also conveniently keeps you from blasting off without their permission.
You might have said this. Is the city domed or...
So the city that you are going to, the capital city, it is domed and underground at the same time.
Oh, okay.
It has a population of 25,000 people, and the main Luan, what's this thing called? Luan Industrials Limited plant is also part of the capital city. Like, so almost everything happens there.
So correct me if I'm wrong, because the way you're describing it, I'm imagining like a giant crater that they've essentially domed over and built into like the caldera.
That is
or bottom
exactly
of the crater.
What it is.
Okay.
But they've also dug beneath that as well.
So it's not entirely subterranean. It's naturally lit. It's just dug down.
Yes.
Okay.
But Luan 8 also does not receive that much luminous power. The sun is very faint this far out. So
what kind of sun is
a lot of artificial lighting.
What kind of sun is it? Great question. The answer is...
It's about 20 years from collapsing in itself.
Oh my god. M3V spectral class.
Okay, so it's similar to Arnsson then.
So I just wanted one more question to clarify. Is this dome like transparent to allow light through, or is it like sealed and all artificial lighting on the inside?
It does allow. It's got the like hexagonal transparent panels to allow light through, but again, the majority of that light is going to be starlight.
Gotcha.
Luan 8 is very far from its sun, which is why it's so damn cold.
Is the city cold, or is it like climate controlled?
It's climate controlled.
Okay.
It's also built into, the earth, so it's somewhat warmer.
Sorry. M's a red dwarf.
So there's a guy that wants to see us in a ball that's being held. Is there like a handler?
So there, the representative Thalia shoots is a woman. She is the democratically elected
official.
Yeah, so not the governor, like the House of Representatives or a senator sort of deal. Like a federal officer would like to see you and is holding a ball in your honor should you like to attend. The local military leader, who is a captain, although their rank is section leader because the military is literally corporate out here. Kai Schwimmer is a captain in terms of rank. And yeah, he would like to have a discussion with you if you are open and available to it.
I think we want to try and play by the rules as much as possible here, right?
I agree.
I believe so.
Okay, I think we'll let ourselves be guided, right?
Okay.
We got somebody here handling us.
Sometime later, you arrive onto the surface of the planet. You hit down on this deck, and truly massive amounts of energy are needed in order to lock your mule dropship in place and then descend the whole landing panel all the way down into the ground and then slowly cover it up like football stadium style. Once all of that's done, the mech bay opens up and the three of you and only you are allowed to leave this dropship bay without your mechs. There is a local police presence here. When you come out, they unveil twin banners of the Draconis Combine and of the Outworlds Alliance. And beneath those, there are the personal banners of the world of Valentina and the world of Lucian 8. And the police officers salute all of you. The four of them carrying the banners then do a pivot so that you can walk in between them as an honor guard.
Have you seen the video from the Olympics with the soldiers unveiling the flags and one that gets the flag in the face?
No, that sounds
horrible. So whenever they had to raise the flags for the ceremonies, they had this whole thing where the soldiers would take the flags, and as they start to raise up, they'd flick the base of the flag out so it would catch the wind, and they'd salute the flag as it was going up.
I have seen that video. Yeah,
there's one video where one of the soldiers he flicks it and ends up wrapping around his head. And all he can do is just stand there saluting with the flag.
He's standing there saluting, just wrapped in flag
until the pulley pulls off his face.
You can kind of tell that the other guy is just just going above and beyond not to lose his shit.
All right, so I guess they then to take us somewhere.
So they walk with you to the door into the domed Undercity, and they formally divest themselves of their banners at that door. And one of them, who appears to have the rank of a detective, holds out a hand for you all to shake and says, "I'll be your police escort if you would like to require one. I'm also a local. I know a lot about the city if you need any help getting anywhere."
What's my read on this guy?
Go ahead and make a roll.
I think Siegfried nudges Akari and says under his breath "Great, another detective."
Everywhere I go. I don't have my sheet open, but I'm just gonna roll dice. I'll tell you what the bonuses are here in a second.
Sure, it'll be.
I'm gonna roll these little green ones right
perception,
here.
Wisdom.
I think I have a +1 to that. This is off the top of my head.
That's pretty good. That's a 10.
You got a +1 to perception.
Yeah, altogether. All right, so this guy, it's a combination of things. Insofar as you are nobles, this is not a noble society, right? Even the technical, they're ruled over by House Avalar, who are nobles. They are, however, democratically elected in all but 3 elections over the last few hundred years. They're democratically elected. They put their finger on the scale, but the planets are democracies, so they don't normally treat with nobles. He doesn't really know how to deal with you. You can see he's kind of worried that it would be rude of him to like check you all for weapons.
I feel like I have our swords.
Yeah.
Then you can see that there's a conflict on his face. Like, he doesn't know if it would cause an incident if he was to ask you to take your swords away. And
would it be possible to have the swords like peace bound?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, something that's like, like when they wrap it with a bit of cloth,
or stuff.
Yeah, like it's literally, it would prove no real hassle to actually pulling it out, but it's inferring.
It's symbolic of I have it, but I'm not here to use it on you.
Yeah, it's part of my uniform, basically.
Even then, that doesn't impress him that much. Like, he would prefer if you weren't carrying weapons. But you can also see that while you might be nobles, you are also guests of rare guests. Foreigners aren't normally allowed in the Outworlds Alliance to like go on planets, and it is unusual even here on Lushan 8. Normally, you don't see this on his face, but someone has briefed you that Lushan 8 is one of the few worlds where they do allow outsiders in regularly every summer for the like inter-service mech games that they host on this planet, because it's called Death Hell and it also has a nice repair facility. So nothing of value is lost if you shoot everything up in the local area. It's not that he's not used to guests. It's that he's not used to guests who are at your level of rank. He's just not really sure where you want to go or what you want to do. You don't have any declared agenda. You just asked to come here. So no one really knows why you're here.
Does he seem bribable?
Absolutely. Yes, he is a police officer in a democratic organization. Yeah, super bribable.
Cool. So when we got all the information of the ball and the elected official that wants to see us, that was all sent to us while we were still on ship, right?
That was actually sent by a Comstar official, because there is a hyperpulse generator on planet, which is very rare this far out.
On the planet or on the moon?
I believe it's on the planet, although you might be about to...
I know. I know a lot of HPGs are often on moons rather than the planet itself.
I believe this is on planet.
Okay.
What did he say his title was? Is just officer?
Detective.
Oh, detective.
So what was the name? What was the name of the elected official we're supposed to be meeting with?
Thalia Schutz.
Akari is just going to do the power move of declining to speak. She's dressed in a super like clean pantsuit, Yakuza style, and is just carrying her oversized katana, kind of like a walking stick, and then pitches it like over her shoulder when she's walking casually, and has like the big oversized fashionable sunglasses.
Okay, you could tell one of the police officers here is like, holy shit, she's so cool. But he's trying to hold it in. Like, he doesn't say it out loud, but you could see it on his face. He's like, God, they don't make them like that around here.
Yeah, she has a very, like, bored and ambivalent look on her face.
Is this someone you know? It sounds like you're describing someone you've met before.
No, I'm just really good with imagery, Arthur.
You're telling me an artist is good with imagery? That's crazy, dude.
I'm also really good at making live edge furniture, and I'm in the process of learning.
The audience doesn't know what you mean when you're saying that. They don't know what that's a reference to.
That's okay. Patreon members will know. We'll put it in the Patreon chat. For the lowest level of Patreon, ladies and gentlemen, you too can be part of the inside jokes.
Are you offering to sell your custom woodworking services directly to the audience?
Directly to very specific people.
Not the Hyrule spy of clients.
And look, I do like this idea that we make it so that only half the jokes are gettable by people that don't contribute.
Yeah.
Please, no. What a nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't done it in a while, Red, but I know how to reupholster if you want to start like a couch business.
Oh yeah, we could make a really nice ottoman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just imagining the logistics of Rad sending it to
Neobuzzard
and then sending it to the client, paying double delivery charge.
Yeah, it's very practical. Okay.
If only I have some part.
We hide the delivery charge in the manufacturing. Manufacturing charts.
It'll all be a tax write-off in the end. Okay, I'll start an LLC. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll stuff it.
You start the LLC.
Yeah, we'll send it to Australia for James to stuff it.
God.
It will be the most artisanal ottoman of all time.
They want to sue us. We just dissolve the LLC.
Hey, that's where I come in. We'll get the LLC in Delaware.
LLC.
Yeah. Well, hey, put it here. It's much harder to sue than.
There you go. Yeah.
There we go.
But then we have to pay Australian and American taxes.
The next thing you know, James is getting extradited because he's part of a fraudulent furniture building LLC.
We have a show that we're doing for people.
Yeah,
right
this
now.
is part of it.
Okay,
this is why we've come to this planet, is to start our LLC that we can close later.
Yeah.
This is the dream. Adventurers who open an inn in a fantasy realm. Yes.
Yeah. The Shanate's like the Battlefield of the Caymans, right? It's the Outworld's the Caymans. That's it.
Right. This is where you launder all your dirty furniture money.
Yeah. I don't know about everyone else. I came here to start an Outworld Alliance bank account.
Yeah. You unnecessarily launder the money you made out of a completely legitimate business.
And you launder it through a religious organization.
Yeah.
Comstar, who keep immaculate records.
Yeah, it's the latest financial trend is reverse laundering.
What is reverse? It's making the money illegal?
Yeah. Because on certain planets, illegal money is more valuable, right? Like, so you're playing the currency exchange game, and it's a whole situation.
So Bitcoin, gotcha.
Or if I ever write a Battletech novel, this is what it's going to be about.
I want people to imagine there are people out there like, if Raddosaurus wrote a novel, hardcore military descriptions of everyday life, the sergeant in your face yelling at you when you fuck up, and what it really is just a dude planing a table real quick.
Yeah. a nonsensical, absurd financial scheme.
Yeah.
The main antagonist will be a blue military mastermind named Fron.
As long as the table eventually stackpiles, I'm fine.
Yeah.
In order to set it in the Battletech universe, though, you have to make a bunch of references to battle mechs. Like while you're lacquering the table, you have to be the oak was solid, just as solid as the armor plating on the Battlemaster my father died in.
Like the leg of a catapult. It's sturdy, unshakable.
I like how you think the famously breakable legs of a catapult. The mech that death from above's once in his whole career never recovers.
So, going back to this conversation.
Thank you, James.
You are standing at the door leading to the entire undercity of the area. You have a police detective who has his hand out waiting for someone to shake it. And there is another dude who is like, oh my god, Akari Genji, she's so fucking cool.
Right. I'll shake his hand.
Okay, you shake his hand.
Thank you, Detective. I think it would be appropriate if we were to make early contact with Miss Schultz.
Of course, Representative Schultz, of course.
Yes. Whereabouts should we go for that?
I can take you to her residence or the government building if you prefer.
Well, where would she be at the moment?
I can call someone.
I think that if she's willing to meet us at her office, that would be the correct thing.
Okay. You see that
if it's like, I don't know, is it like a Sunday here or something? I don't know. If this is not the right day, then should we just find another time?
Steps aside and goes for his shoulder radio while the other three people nearby kind of settle into a slightly relaxed position.
I'll turn to the other two and say, I heard places outside the Combine have like non-working days. But
I was going to say, as they start to relax, I want to look them over now. and see how they stand all chilled and relaxed.
They have an extremely militant edge to them. You know, they have that after 2001 police rather than pre-2001 police. Like, their sidearm of choice is a automatic pistol, and you can definitely tell that their uniform would accommodate rifles. You know, like the strap to like hook the rifle onto you or whatever. They're almost certainly wearing some sort of tactical webbing and body armor underneath their formal dress uniforms as well. These people are not like, I mean, and again, as Draconis Combine members, that's not unusual for you, since your police are extremely militarized and their default loadout is riot shotguns and tear gas spray. Like, that is their first level response threat. So that's not unusual for you. But you have heard that other nations are kind of more namby-pamby sort of, you know, like, oh, the police aren't militarized. They don't respond with imminent
They wear
violence.
tall hats and just have batons.
Yeah,
Losers.
that's not the case here. They are highly militarized in a way that makes you think that they could probably be called to military service quite easily.
Okay. So
6-day work weeks are for the weak.
I was gonna say, I think.
Yeah. So hold on, because you guys asked them like what's going on, and you know, one of them's like, "We've got a pretty solid, 4-day, 32-hour work week. Our unions are very good here." Yeah, police union very strong in the Outworlds Alliance. We see a lot of action out here. A lot of action.
Action against what?
Dissidents, insurrectionists, traitors, enemies of liberty.
And I assume they're put down or dealt with. I think
you see all three of them are nodding like, yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. No one says anything, but they're all like, yeah, we put them down hard.
Okay. I want to see if whoever's talking, if he'll take a handshake.
Yeah, give you a handshake, sure.
I just want to make like a point that these guys see that I'm like inspecting their uniforms.
Okay.
While also wearing my own uniform.
I think you notice a conspicuous lack of like medals or service things. You know, some people might not wear, that like Colin Powell, or just to get more ridiculous, like Gaddafi, or who's that Russian general? Zhukov, who literally had to have like a second dude carry his other medals around. They're not like that. Like, they have markers indicating that they are like low-ranking police officers on their epaulets. Other than that, their uniforms are conspicuously clean of any sort of like long-term service or like any sort of special actions.
Is the little light, like the little record light on their body cams, obviously turned off?
They don't have body cams.
Oh, okay.
This is right, come on.
They're unionized.
This is the Battletech feature of the 80s. Okay,
Right. Yeah.
they don't have that.
I'm just trying to get a read,
I can't tell you a quick side story. Sorry to interrupt.
Please.
I would love that.
So many years ago, the brand Colgate. They're like Colgate toothpaste. Yeah, okay,
yeah,
that's it. Yeah. So I installed a surveillance camera system at the Colgate factory in Australia, and went back to service it like several months later because having some issues with checking it. And then when I was looking, I realized that all recording had been disabled. So it was showing live cameras, but despite the fact it was full of hard drives, there was no recording set. And I said to the person in charge, like, is this right? Should this be recording? He said, I don't know. I guess so. So we turned on the recording, and about 5 minutes later, someone ran in and like yelled, like, what are you doing? I'm like, we just turned on the recording. He said, apparently the union had complained about the workers being recorded in the past, and so they'd agreed not to record the workers. And someone had walked past the office, heard us talking, heard us say we're going to put the recording back on again, had phoned the union, and everybody in the factory just walked off the job.
Wow.
That's a strong union right there.
Some shady shit going on at the toothpaste factory down the street.
That's how you could tell that story was not an American story.
Yeah.
Right.
They're going to figure out why our teeth are so white. We've been stealing all the toothpaste. I turned that shit off. Okay.
Several
Akari
minutes.
just thinks into herself inside her head is, okay, so these people's biggest problem is their total inability to control their own people. Charming.
That is accurate. The detective comes back and has arranged a ride if you would like to go in black luxury SUVs escorted by 2 police cruisers to the offices of Representative Thalia Schutz.
And those SUVs have little Draconis Combine flags on the bonnet?
Yes, of course. Yeah, and diplomatic plates on the back. Yeah.
That's right, yeah. All right.
Well, it's just one SUV. The three of you have to go in the same SUV.
Right.
You're guests, and they want to honor you, but they don't have unlimited funds. You begin driving through a city up. Like, you are below surface level, below the dome level, and you begin making your way up, and you can tell the lighting difference when you hit the natural skylight of the stars around you. Looks absolutely beautiful out here. You've arrived local nighttime. The stars are easily visible. There's barely any like city lighting to interfere. Certainly the area outside of the dome is completely devoid of any light sources at all. And you make your way through the starlight of a city that it's like San Francisco because it's built in a sort of concave surface. There's a lot of hills and a lot of buildings that are built in like tiers and sort of that South American, like buildings are very narrow and long and wide sort of deal.
And they kind of climb up the hill, like in tiers.
And you are going way up there. So it's clear that the Dome City here is sectionalized into 4 wedges that seem to be like industrial, governmental, commercial, and residential. And the closer you are to the bottom seems to be lowest status. Gotcha. And you are going to the very edge, like against the outer dome, where you could see that Thalia Schutz has it literally is a very thin estate, only like 30 or 40 feet wide, but very long, like almost a solid half-mile long series of lawns, and the estate itself is literally like 1 room and a hallway wide, just very long. It looks ridiculous to you. Kind of like
it was planned, or it was like this was like leftover space that is filled in.
This part was definitely planned, but like it can't be wider than the Tiritsant. Like American ships that have to fit through the Panama Canal have to very specifically be a certain distance wide. Cannot be wider than that. Like at World War II, battleships had to be like 256 feet and 6 inches wide and not an inch wider, or it couldn't fit through the canal sort of deal. They used every bit of space to make a beautiful lawn and a beautiful building that was as big as possible and could not get any bigger. A woman in her 50s whose hair...
Wait. Before we get there, can I strike up a conversation while we're driving up with our detective guy?
Sure. The detective is in the passenger seat up front, and he lowers the privacy window down and says,
"Yeah,
yes.
Tell me, detective, what sort of record keeping does your port authority keep regarding? I don't know what's the word for it. Visitors, off-world visitors."
Is there something specific you're looking for?
Well, we recently had a noble from home possibly come to visit, and we were
You're speaking
interested in whether or not we could link up with him.
Right, Mr. Alouette Takeda.
Oh, yes, you know of him.
His arrival on planet was quite famous and well regarded.
Would you be able to help us with his whereabouts at all?
I think you should speak to the representative about that.
Why is that? Is there some controversy about him being here?
Mr. Takeda is a well-respected guest who's going through the process of legally immigrating into the Outworlds Alliance.
Is that a difficult process?
He's claiming political persecution from the Draconis Combine. It is indeed quite a difficult process, but considering who our most recent guests are, I'm thinking it's a more difficult process than normal.
So when you say he's claiming persecution, because he claimed asylum?
Yes.
Is he provided protections at his current state of application?
I'm afraid I can't discuss those kinds of things. You'd really best speak with the representative Schutz.
It's unfortunate that you couldn't be more helpful. The Draconis Combine, I'm sure, as you're aware, having been familiar with Alouette, is very generous to those that are helpful to it.
Okay.
I just look out the window like I'm done with the conversation.
Right. This guy's eyes are going to slide over to the driver, and the two of them share a significant NPC glance.
Actually, I wanted to ask something, because I think Siegfried's more bold than me. I think when we were getting in, he'd ask if he could drive.
Oh my god. No, absolutely. Under no circumstances would they allow that. No. But they would do it much more politely, like, sir, for your own safety, we will drive.
You don't know the way.
Can I make a roll for it?
We drive on the opposite side of the street for no.
Oh gosh.
You can't make a roll.
Are you saying
Impossible.
I can't figure out my left and my right?
Left from right.
Sir, it would be best if you let us drive. We know the way.
Yeah, they start coming up with a lot of stuff. They're like, we drive on the other side of the road. The gas and brake are switched.
I mean, but they really do drive on the other side of the road.
Yeah, there's an application process to recognize your Korean license here in the Outworlds. You know.
Yeah.
Are you saying that driving a vehicle is harder than operating a battle mech?
We have the controls set to inverted, so I mean, if you're not familiar with that, it could be a real situation.
Our cars don't use a steering wheel. They're all HODAs set up.
Okay, it's a yoke. When you want to go downhill, you've got to make sure you dive.
Akari, I will take one of the following rolls here.
I'd love to roll some dice
to convince them to be bribed.
Okay.
Business, culture criminal, culture Lushan 8, or culture law enforcement officer. I will also take a gambling at a -1. This is a gamble.
I have an even roll on culture criminal.
Okay.
Is there a stat that goes with that?
Yes, it will be charisma for this.
Okay. Yeah, then I have an even roll on this.
Okay.
I expert reroll.
That's a good call, given the way those dice came down.
Oof. Very well.
What's the total there?
6 is the number.
Okay. So you aren't failing. It's just that the amount of money that they're going to ask for you is going to be significant enough that it's going to impact you at the end of the year.
Oh boy. Good Lord.
What you're asking for them is a severe act of political corruption. Like, hey, can you help us get close to or have a conversation with someone who is specifically fleeing from you? And you're like, could you? And they're like, okay, for a gigantic pile of cash right over the table right now, we will do so. Just like in the movie SWAT with Samuel L. Jackson.
I'm going to do what a savvy criminal would do, and I'm going to pass the buck, and I'm going to look over at Hiro, is that what you want to pay? Because this isn't as important to her as it is to him.
I think the concept of bribing a police officer goes completely over Hiro's
He's
head.
just like, why are you looking at me?
Actually, can I assist the role in any way? Because like haggling prices is what Siegfried did for the DCMS.
I feel like you can't get the +2 that you need because a help would only be a +1.
Okay.
Look at Hiro, and he's just like nodding his head. Yes, the Draconis Combine is very generous. That is true. And I'll just, I don't know. I'll tactfully change the subject. When he asks for a ridiculous amount of money, I'll look out the window and be like, "Oh, is that your stadium? Do you have sports here?"
Yes, we have been facing our most hated rivals in American football, the Jacksonville Jaguars, as led by their quarterback, Blake Bortles. Our football team is very strong, but it isn't as good as the factory's labor crew, unfortunately. And you can't see it from here, but during the daytime, you might be able to see the mech arena that we have for the local games. Now, he doesn't, just to be clear, he doesn't ask you for a giant pile of money.
No.
What he does is he hands you a data pad with expedition fees and other such things and like suggested gifts for your local police officer. Yeah. Hey.
Tickets to the police officer's ball.
When I hand it back to him, it has a message written on it, something to the effect of like, it's probably inappropriate for you to ask me for these things, but I'll do you a solid and not mention it to your supervisor.
James, was it you who told me that India has a $0 bill that people use to give to politicians who try to bribe them?
No.
Oh my God. I love this tradition. It's so incredible. I wish we had it here. I would be handing out huge stacks of $0 bills. Corruption. You arrive in the driveway of Representative Schutz. She is a woman in her 50s. She's got a literally beehive swooped hair up to a point, held in place delicately by multiple hair ornaments, a sort of night evening dress that looks pretty good on her. And she just kind of, oh, hello, everyone. I'm Representative Thalia Schutz, welcome.
Does she look like recently made up, like she was not here until she got the phone call, or?
She looks like she is prepared for you to arrive.
Now, based on her voice and the way she said hello and the hair you described, I can only assume she's played as Robin Williams dressed as like kind of a British nanny.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Got it.
Hello.
Hello.
Just a reminder, Mrs. Doubtfire is the villain of the movie Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yes.
It's incredible manipulative. Okay.
Siegfried,
is it Pierce Brosnan, who's a regular, normal ass
who's
dude?
the bad guy? Yeah.
Yep. I think Siegfried's gonna approach her and like bow and just be like, "What was her name? Miss Schutz."
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just put it in Discord.
Right.
Probably should have done this all along.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, Schutz. Representative Schutz. He'll bow and say, I guess the appropriate way to address her would be as representative, correct?
Sure.
Okay. Just bow to her and say, Representative Schutz, it is a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for welcoming us to your city.
Please, my lord, call me Thalia. We don't stand on ceremony around here. We're not one for titles. Everyone here is democratically elected. But a humble servant of the people. 20 terms running.
We bring you most gracious greetings of Shugo Nosagi of Angetsu Bay on Valentina.
Oh, how wonderful. I look forward to conversating with him via Comstar communication to send him a thank you for this wonderful greeting. I assume our law enforcement officers have treated you well.
Indeed. Their fees seem a little high, but I suppose that's probably
I'm sorry, their fees?
So
were you invoiced or charged for anything?
No, I think we were just discussing some transaction that was not going ahead. In any case, can we come in and have a conversation?
Oh, please. Please do. I've had my chef making a chicken dinner. Do you eat chicken?
Is this like a what's chicken type thing? Because who knows what that earth bird is?
Chicken?
No, you guys know. You know what chicken is, but it doesn't seem like she knows whether you culturally eat chicken.
Okay. Typically, it would be considered peasant food, but it can sometimes be quite quaint.
When Hiro mentions the fees being high, are the cops still there? Do their faces pale when they hear that? Like we're busted.
Yes. Yeah.
They're happy they wore their brown pants to work today.
They didn't, though. They wore their nice dark blue navy dress pants.
All right. No, I don't say anything. I give a polite nod, and I'm prepared to follow her.
Okay. She sachets down a red carpeted walkway to her front door, which is about 10 feet away, because, again, there's not a lot of space to the edge of the dome.
If she would allow Siegfried would offer her his arm and walk with her.
Of course. Nice.
How gentlemanly of you. Is everyone so filled with chivalry in the Draconis Combine?
A tripper. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, look, we're already here at my front door. Just one sentence away.
She's like, we don't need to stand on ceremony. Everything she's done since we've met her has been incredibly ceremonious.
Is it like a 2-mile walk to her
no, it's 10
dining
feet.
Room from the
to the dining room at the back of the house.
That way? Yes, it is quite some distance to one of the 2 dining rooms. It seems that there's an east wing and a west wing.
We get in the house and we realize all the rooms are on one side and the other side is simply a track for a golf cart to go back and forth.
Yeah. I was gonna say there's one table that spans the entire building, and we sit on one side and she sits on the other side, and there's like an intercom that we talk to each other from. Spared no expense.
There's a bullet train to get from side to side. So.
Yeah, the pinnacle of propriety.
She leads you to the East Wing's dining facility, where you could see that a small staff is, like, as you're walking in, they are plating and putting everything down. It looks warm and fresh, ready to go, and a chef begins telling you in heavily accented Franglish, French English, what all of the dishes are. So, I have to say, I was so glad to approve your visit, but it's so unusual that came shortly after a request arrived across my desk for a certain young man who claims to have been persecuted. Can I assume that your business here intersects with Alouette, or as he calls himself, the Lark? A master swords fighter and debonair rogue? Quite the manly man.
First off, sorry, Thalia, I must deeply apologize to you, and I do like a deep, respectful bow, that the troubles of Hangetsu Bay have troubled your world. It was never the intent of our Shogu to cause distress to your world or your fair city. We have come here because, as you say, we do seek this man who is both a murderer and a thief in our laws.
Oh my, that's quite different from what I had heard. I mean, Charles? And she brings out, like, a full-length portrait of Alouette that's, like, signed in gold ink. We just love him here. He's got all sorts of stories. He's so debonair. You say he's a murderer and a thief? These are quite the charges. I assume my investigatory team, speaking with your diplomatic corps, will come back with some things, but if you don't mind telling me what exactly it is you're charging him with here.
He was involved in a attempted murder initially upon myself and my companions here, and in the matter of that, he slew his own lord and fled with his lord's familial sword. Weapon
it's
that
treason,
should be passed.
then.
Indeed.
You'd see that he's quite the rogue and rapscallion.
Indeed, the words that I used to describe him take on a different tone now that I hear accusations about his character. But I must say, who am I to believe? You or him? It's all everyone's word against each other. I assume you would like to apprehend him.
The most important part is that we return the family sword, but we have still been asked by our Lord, our Baron, to ensure that justice is done for the death of a lord, a noble, in our fine city. A killing which was witnessed by several nobles, not just the three of us, but also by my fiance, many of my, the staff of mine which survived his callous attack.
Oh my, callous, what a word. Well, I'll tell you what. I will look into rescinding his application and having him turned over into your sort of presence. But I must say, such a paperwork could take quite a while. Years, really. My desk is so full right now with a local situation. Oh, you're starting to understand that everyone here is super corrupt and bribable?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure we're all on the same page here.
Right.
So busy dealing with a local situation.
Akari is figuring that she's probably going to be a lot more expensive than a low-level detective.
Yeah. You see, I've been looking for someone to act as a neutral arbitrator. There's only 20,000 people here in the capital city, and everyone knows everyone else, of course, and no one trusts each other. Everyone's all got factional and such, and they all work for Luan Industrials Limited, and there's a sort of kerfuffle at one of the southern mines with some of the mech test pilots testing the new weapons being made, and the Union is up in arms. I'm worried that the up in arms may soon become literal.
Is this a matter that if we were to help you resolve would clear your desk somewhat?
I believe that I would be able to put my full attention on rescinding whatever diplomatic protections Mr. Takeda has. If this Union problem were to go away. Charles? She snaps twice. He brings in a data pad. He's holding it in the same way he was holding the full-length portrait, but it's literally like a tiny data pad.
What does Charles look like?
Charles looks like... He looks like... if it was an anime, his name would be Sebastian. He is a British butler with graying hair and a full beard sort of deal. August, distinguished. He has tailcoats, the little flappies on his suit.
Is he...
you
said an anime butler, and I'm thinking he's got that like old man jacked physique.
Yeah,
like he's had a hard secret life.
I was
doesn't talk about anymore.
I was picturing Hulk Hogan with his bald head and his silky blonde hair.
I was picturing Paul Bearer.
Okay.
Oh my God. Okay, so Andrew, you were the only one even remotely correct.
What do you mean? Hulk Hogan fits all of your descriptions perfectly.
Silky hair?
Paul
Hulk Hogan?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. We're switching the actors now. It's literally just Hulk Hogan. Brad is really looking to do some fan art for himself to just loll over.
It'll be just for me.
With a data pad.
Here's your data pad.
Yeah, Sebas.
Yeah.
Is that from Overlord?
Yeah.
Yes. His name is literally Sebas. But that's a play. Japanese anime has a lot of British butlers with the name Sebastian. It's just like a meme thing that they've been doing for 30 years. So it's no surprise that guy's name is Sebas. Yeah, so he brings out a data pad. It has Is that a picture of Paul Bearer? Oh my god. You guys just will not stop.
Ooh.
It has the photograph of man. It's clear that this photograph has been taken while he's in a industrial mech cockpit. You know, you see like the padded seating behind him. He's wearing like a bulky neuro helmet on his head. He looks kind of Portuguese, kind of dark, weirdly dark skin for a planet with little to no ultraviolet exposure. Dark eyebrows, huge and bushy, and he's staring at, out at the camera that's taking this somewhat suspiciously. Sebastian, his name is Charles, comes over and puts it down between the three of you, like in the middle of the table. You can see that there's scroll, like if you wanted to look up more information about this man, or if you just think the photo's fine. I can have it cleared so that you can take your mechs down to the southern facility and arbitrate this sort of situation and help resolve things. I am a neutral third party in this, but, business needs to be done on planet. It would be good for the financials of Luan Industrials Limited, one of my strongest supporters, to be free to continue to help me campaign for my 21st year. I would never want to predispose you or ruin the impartiality of our arbitrators. Just reminding you of where my loyalties are.
Siegfried would ask her, in this arbitration that she's asking us for, do we care about when it's resolved, do we care about the condition of the intangible assets?
Oh, the industrial mechs need to survive.
Okay.
They must be very tangible. They are necessary in order to carry out the work.
I was gonna say, I think that's as business as I can get with asking, does she care if we kill people?
She merely comments on the tangible assets.
The mechs need to be okay. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
So we can't completely destroy them.
Irrespective of the reason we've come here, I think it's important that we build future bonds between Valentina and Luan, and so we would happily resolve this for you.
Oh my, I had heard that Lord Arnsson had recently lost his fiancée. I'm afraid I'm a bit old to remarry. Sorry, you look kind of weird about that, Miss Genji. Did I read the situation wrong?
Akari's eyebrows go so far up, they're like a cartoon. They end up like 6 inches above her head.
I think Siegfried tries to politely play it off and says she doesn't look a year over 30.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, but
still imagining that this looks like Robin Williams.
Yes, we don't need to bullshit here between ourselves.
Her cheeks would flush if it wasn't, if any of her skin silicone was visible through the 6 tons of makeup she has on her face.
Well, it was very nice meeting you all, and we've had such a wonderful dinner. I'll make sure that your diplomatic credentials are updated to include that you are impartial arbiters on behalf of the government to intervene in this matter between the Union and Luan Industrials Limited.
So I just want to clarify. She's going to end our meeting by saying, hey, didn't your wife just die? By the way, thanks for the help. Get out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, this did not. That last part there was a real falling on her face part. So she's getting out of the conversation.
She's like, I'm done. We're done here. No one's eaten yet. She's like, thanks for coming to dinner.
My people will see that it's boxed up for you in a plastic container.
Akari picks up a fork, and that's the same time like the silver dish comes and like covers.
I was gonna say if it's like a whole, I'm assuming it's like a whole rotisserie chicken. At that point, I think Siegfried would just pick it up.
It's just the soldier with all palms a chicken.
Yeah. No care.
The butler Charles comes over and puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "I can tell you've seen service, son. Do not worry. We will make sure that it is all put in plastic containers for you to take back to your residence.
I'll put the chicken back down, but rip a drumstick off. Walk off with it.
They begin boxing you guys up. You know, a little bit of coleslaw, a little bit of potato salad. It's German
Charles starts to
salad.
Hulk up. He sees you take that drumstick. He's like,
how American is... Wait. Was this KFC?
No.
Was all this just KFC?
These people are German. Their last names are Schutz and Schwimmer.
So there are people of German descent in the States.
So it's schnitzel, not rotisserie.
Oh my god. No, it's still rotisserie just because rotisserie chicken's delicious and I have one in my refrigerator right now.
That's literally what I ate for dinner tonight. So
I've been making a Costco rotisserie chicken into using the carcass for soup stock for the last 6 weeks consistently.
Okay. This is fine. Akari's plan all along was just to let Kyeda take the lead on all this. This is his deal. She's just here looking to be opportunistic.
As you're being walked out by the butler, who is carrying your 3 plastic on a silver tray.
They're very tiny and his overly large, overly tanned hands.
Hulk Hogan's hands are not big enough to hold a whole fucking rotisserie chicken.
No, 3 rotisserie chicken containers.
He says, I should make it clear to you, before you go, it would not be wise to go after Mr. Takeda. Right now, he is not in the city proper. He is with a armed group that has a lot of equipment the government does not agree with, a sort of militia force. It would be deeply unwise for you to... it would be an act of aggression and possibly even war if you were to take your battle mechs and storm that facility. I would highly suggest that you deal with the situation that Representative Schutz has tasked you.
Not only can you carry chickens, but you can solicit political advice as well. You're a talented man, Mr. Charles.
I am a butler for the world's, representative for the executive parliament of the Outworlds Alliance.
Then I trust you can provide some assurances on her behalf, such as ensuring that we will be able to meet with Mr. Takeda following our union busting that we'll be doing for your boss.
Mr. Takeda will not be leaving the planet anytime soon. He does not have permission. I would hesitate to call it union busting. I'm sure you can resolve all of this piffle-puffle with a nice set of talking.
I would hesitate to ever use the words piffle-puffle, so we'll just have to agree to disagree. And she takes her chicken and starts to walk away.
He says harumph and nods.
In the Combine, we replaced most union labor with indentured service, and that seemed to have resolved most of our union issues.
Yeah, it's pretty efficient.
Isn't your entire society built out of unions? It's literally you're a Combine. Literally just. Oh, sorry, I'm the representative right now because I was so surprised by what you said. The butler just says, "I don't know how to argue the political doctrine of our neighbors. It's a long way to the Draconis Combine."
Well, consider yourself cordially invited. Let me know if you ever find yourself in Hangatsu Bay.
I want to give him that predator bro handshake and just go
brother.
Yeah, just be like
oh
thank you,
yeah. No, that's Randy
That's
Savage.
Mondo Man.
Yeah,
That's Macho
Randy
Man.
Savage. That was Macho Man.
I listen. I want fan art from you of Pondo Man Randy Savage.
Mondo Man Randy Savage.
It's Pondo in his cowboy hat that he used to wear on Battletech.
The sunglasses and a tank top. And a Slim Jim in his hand.
Okay.
Yeah. Tell him if he's ever in on Valentina to look us up.
Your police escort has been changed.
Nice.
So I had a question. Sorry, one more question. So I had Charles. One more question for Charles.
Charles, the butler.
Yes. So the representative said that she was previously married.
Yes, it was some time ago.
Have any children?
Oh no. Were you interested in getting married to someone locally? I'm afraid we don't really have a sort of nobility around here.
But
most people intermarry with powerful industrialists or military officers.
But you also have long-term elected officials.
Only House Avalar, and only because of their great sagacious wisdom. They're, of course, the most just and worthy people of leading the Outworlds Alliance. Now, listen, this guy is old and he's not an idiot. He's telling you what you need to hear because you're foreigners in his country, but he doesn't believe it.
Yeah. And they're part of the Outworld. They're not specifically to this planet. They are part of the Outworlds Alliance in general. Sorry.
Yes, House Avalar are the occupy the executive presidency of the executive parliament.
All right.
So they don't run any particular planet. They run the whole organization, and they don't always win the presidency. Just all but 3 times.
Okay. This industrial concern here as well. What do they primarily produce?
Lasers. Medium lasers. For aerospace fighters, battle mechs, and vehicles.
A family operation or a purely a corporate affair?
I believe that Mr. Falco Holtz would prefer it to be run as a family organization if he had a family.
Very well. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Of course. Have a good evening. He hands you your plastic container of German potato salad and coleslaw and a whole rotisserie chicken. Is there any one thing that you'd like to do before we wrap up for this episode?
I don't think so. So to be clear, as a summary, she wants us to go and put down get in our mechs and go put down a kerfuffle at a facility.
Mm-hmm.
On her behalf,
she is a neutral third party representing the federal government who would like you to arbitrate a discussion between Luan Industrials Limited and their union.
And Holtz represents Industrials Limited?
Yes, he is the owner of Luan Industrials Limited.
And is there like a union representative?
It is the one that they brought you the data pad
you described of the picture. Okay.
Union representative Gustavo Coimbra.
Okay.
Can you put that name in Discord so we don't forget it?
Already copy pasting.
All right, thank you.
I knew that this would be a thing.
I was mainly curious as to whether or not there was anybody, say for example, you did want to form some sort of obviously political marriages to it because there's no noble class here, but there's certainly people who are like long-term corporate scions, for example. But no, it sounds like there's no one really among the people that we're talking about here unless they have children.
Yeah, if you wanted like a political marriage, it'd have to either be be lucky enough to get someone from House Avalar or one of like the corporate families.
So it should be noted, Luan Industrials Limited is a huge manufacturer. They are limited to this planet. They only have a few thousand employees, but they make the majority of the lasers for the whole Outworlds Alliance.
For example, if you were trying to marry for wealth, there are opportunities here, right? Not necessarily status, but for wealth.
They're like Northrop Grumman, if Northrop Grumman operated in Iran or something.
But Falco has no family, though, just saying.
Yes, Mr. Falco Holtz does not currently have any family.
So in other words, he's single.
Yeah.
That is true.
He's played by Macho Man Randy Savage.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No. He's played by the guy who played the lawyer in the movie about Kaiser Soze.
He's played by the guy who played the lawyer in My Cousin Vinny.
Is there anything else you want to do?
He's played by Danny DeVito.
No, he's not played by Danny DeVito.
Man, Charles should have been Danny DeVito. Oh, well. I'm just off my game today. It's okay. They can't all be home runs. No, I got nothing.
So rarely are when you recast my characters. Let's be clear.
They're almost always home runs.
I will never forget one of the first conversations we had where I thoroughly described a character as being like Dominic, Smooth Mage. And you were like, here's this comic. And I was like, this is such a great comic. But also the main character is supposed to be black.
That wasn't on purpose. I just wasn't paying any attention when you described him
on purpose.
On stream.
I was like, this character was specifically modeled after a real person from one of my streams.
And like less than an hour later, I had it changed.
I know. It was one of our first discussions we ever had.
That's true. It's true.
So I'll never forget, you're constantly recasting my characters in your own vision.
That's right. It's the power of art.
Power of art? The power of fan art.
And jackassery. Yep.
Oh, this session has certainly had its jackassery for sure. For sure. I'm so sad nobody bribed the police officer, and now he's going to get in so much trouble.
It was too expensive.
Oh no, it's so expensive you actually had to pay for it. That was the problem.
No,
if you could just say
your annual bottom line.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that that it affected you in some way, rather than me being like, you can get whatever you want. That's not a battle back.
Unacceptable.
Like a car, a sword, 10,000 guns, easy mode. I'm like, you might take a -1 penalty at the end of the year. Rad's immediately
end of year stuff is already incredibly difficult to succeed, though. Like, you have to hedge your bets.
I'm working on it.
I believe you, but I don't know the results of that.
I'm really surprised you didn't just agree to it and then toss the idea out the second we were off-world.
Yeah.
I mean, what's he gonna do? On a detective salary, he's gonna come after you?
Yeah.
Take you to court for not paying your bribe.
He's gonna tell his boss, she bribed me and they didn't pay me.
I think you need to understand that most bribes are paid up front for this very reason.
But for that much money?
You don't set aside bribes on consignment.
I would. He would have to start some kind of layaway program.
Oh, you're gonna put the bribe on escrow?
Yeah.
You can see the money in this account, but you can't touch it until the bribe is complete.
Listen, I have a friend,
I'm worried right now that James knows intimately way more than us about the procedures of bribing people, but can't say anything.
You guys got it all wrong.
Have I told you my bribery story?
Yes, but please tell it again. The audience may not have.
We had a factory in China, and every year there has to be like a certification, and a government certifier comes to the factory to certify it, and it was the company being certified had to pay for their hotel, had to pay for their food and everything while they were in town for the certification. And of course, the unwritten rule was you put them in the best hotel, you took them to the most expensive dinners, etc. if you wanted your factory to pass muster. And then when the government started like a crackdown on corruption, they basically gave very strict instructions that no, when the inspectors come out, you will pay only the minimum for, like you'll meet these requirements for the hotel, these requirements for the food, and no more. And our corporate advice was, yep, that's what we're going to do now. We're going to do exactly what the government tells us to. We're not going to engage in any bribery. So, because the guy came out and we put him through, or we said, he's going to fail us. He's not going to pass us on this, if we do this, but we did anyway. We put him in the basic sort of Best Western, whatever you would call, what equivalent, hotels, etc., and gave him, basic food. And when it came to the final day, he's like, look, everything looks okay. There's just this $200 administrative fee that, has to be paid in cash in order to finalize it,
Yeah.
And I rang my boss overseas and like, what do we do? Like, this guy, he's literally going to fail us if we don't pay this money. These very strict instructions, there's no bribes. And the guy said, you know what? As long as he gives you a receipt, you're fine. And the guy gave me a receipt. gave me a receipt for the $200 US. So.
It's like going to a restaurant and like the gratuities included. You have to pay it. Like it's just part of the. I have a bribe story, but it was from fake police checkpoint in Honduras, and it doesn't have nearly as happy of an ending. So I'll just not tell it.
I can kind of sense where it's gonna go.
Yeah, it was. I'm here, So
yeah.
It went bad, but it wasn't for me because I'm here doing a show on the internet.
But not for me.
Yeah. There was a video recently on YouTube of the motorcycle blogger where she got pulled up in Nigeria or Kenya or something, like by cops wanting a bribe, like not even flight to do it, like they just pulled her over and like give me money,
Yeah, that's normal
and she
in a lot of places in the world.
She posted online that pretty much there was this sort of show trial that was done to show how these two police officers were being punished and stripped of their rank by the government, but they got in trouble for getting caught,
Yeah.
Wow, things are so complicated.
Yeah.
I don't know. Never mind. I won't say anything. I'm good.
I wanted to.
Thanks for having me, Arthur.
I wanted to have the police be corrupt to onboard you to the fact that everyone you meet is going to be super corrupt here.
Yeah,
I like that.
Gotcha.
Except for the union members, they're of course honest socialist folk being crushed beneath the heel of corporate society.
Hey, I'm sure the union members are fine. It's the union leadership I'm worried about.
Yeah, of course. Their story will be so tragic as you go to brutally jackboot thuggedly put them down.
I wouldn't call it union busting. Yeah, I bet you wouldn't.
I would never call it union busting anywhere I might be recorded.
I would tell them to unite against their union overlords who ride in comfy battle mechs while they got to fight on foot.
I like that you think that they have battle mechs. No. They have industrial mechs. And don't think it's a nice industrial mech like a cattle mech or something. It's like the mechs that they fight the final battle of the Matrix in, where they're like,
Listen,
with the drill.
I worked in enough factories with forklifts that only had 3 of their 4 wheels working. Okay, I know what I can already imagine these industrial mechs. Yeah, it's bad.
That sounds really bad.
Yes, it is indeed a safety problem.
Okay.
There was a red tag that only existed when an OSHA inspector came by.
Wow.
Yeah, sounds right.
Hey, the safety inspector is going to be here today. Put the red tag on the vehicles.
Go park it in the corner while you're literally using it right now. Go put the tag on.
Right. Comes in and asks questions like, so how do you access the high base if all of your forklifts are tagged out? Man, that's a question you gotta pass up the chain. I don't know.
Boy. Are we good for next week, the 14th or 15th, depending on how you look at it? The Ides of March.
Let me look just to verify here.
But only in Australia.
Where are you, mouse cursor? I lost you.
Oh, I gotta.
The 14th. I should. Yeah. I'm good. I should, in theory, theoretically, be good for the next 3 weeks.
Nice.
The 28th is questionable for me. We'll see.
I'm going to put a question mark there.
I will have my hands full getting ready to leave country. But I might, depends on how expeditive I am in my preparations.
So what we're hearing, audience, is that if you're able to help administratively expedite Rad's preparations, we could get more episodes.
That's right. If anybody works through
Patreon dollars,
if anybody works in a passport office that does official passports, hit me up in Discord.
Yeah, I was thinking U.S. passports, or are you okay with a fake passport from a different country?
I mean, I'm open to.
My nephew bought a passport from bought someone's identity on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh Jesus!
So he could do illegal online gambling underage.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Straight to jail.
Straight to jail.
Great.
Then he went to school and bragged to his geography teacher about it.
Oh boy. I mean, look,
the school called his mum.
There's definitely a reason that we give kids less sentences because they do dumb shit.
That's amazing.
Well, youth of America, we really yeeted this episode out there at you. But just know, if you've got the Skrilla to drop on Patreon dollars, you too could get this episode fresh, hot, and cool, ready, just like a Little Caesar's pizza, faster than anybody else. What's some more youth slang that I can abuse?
And the school won't call your parents about subscribing on Patreon, so you don't use that money to buy a fake passport. Use it to subscribe to Arthur's Patreon.
If your love language is Battletech and you need to get your head straight because what's a therapy speak thing from TikTok? Bad at this.
I don't know.
All right. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
audience.
no cap.
That's a no cap. Sorry for
on
last
God.
night. No cap. That's it. We're out.